I guess King doesn't really need an introduction. We didn't even really introduce the fucking author. But like,
Yeah, he's Stephen King. He's
yeah,
creepy looking as shit.
one of the things that I actually
Ugly
wanted,
dude.
one of my questions I had, dude, was like, just yeah, because he's somebody that is just so well known. I mean, he's literally one of the best-selling authors to ever live. It's like him and like J.K. Rowling or whatever. Like, I was gonna ask you, would you call King the most influential writer to ever live?
I don't know. I don't know, because I don't think that like most people out there trying to write right now are trying to write like Stephen King.
Whoa.
I mean, I guess that's arguable. I don't know. I don't know the fiction side of the world as well as you might.
Well, I mean, everything is fractured into like niche genres now, but
I
I just
would
mean, yeah, go ahead.
argue his popularity over his influence. Maybe
Well,
influence in terms of like the horror genre.
right. I just mean, yeah, I mean, he's one of the most famous to ever live for sure. I mean, people all over the world would recognize. That's one of the things I noticed. Like his name on my copy. I guess we didn't even talk about the copies yet, which edition we read. And there's, I mean, with a book like this, I mean, you're talking hundreds of different printings. Like, but his name is bigger on the cover than like the title of the book. Yeah, like
Oh yeah.
so. I just
It's huge
the reason I
compared to
thought of
that.
it, yeah, exactly, yeah,
It's big as shit and bold.
and we have two completely different copies. I have Hodder. I think it's one of his British publishing houses. Hodder, like iconic Terra paperback. I got a 2-pack out of it actually because I got The Shining and Doctor Sleep, the sequel to this, which I'm in the middle of now. But I couldn't resist buying the 2-pack. What did you got,
Yeah,
Seth?
I got the Anchor Books Mass Market Edition 2012.
2012. Yeah, that's what I mean. So like even like
I think
10
maybe
years.
this one just like went out of print and they're putting out like a newer mass market now
Well, that's the thing,
that you
dude. I
probably
mean,
get for $5.
we'll link both. Well, I guess yeah, they don't have it. We'll just link the mass market
Yeah,
in
we'll
this
link
version.
whatever that seems the most affordable,
Yeah, I
most
mean,
reasonable.
I'll just link both. Whatever we read, for people can look at it. Whatever, like they can pick whichever one if they if you want to fucking buy it at all, or you just want to look at it. Although we do encourage you to add all these books to your library, like we do. But
Yeah,
so,
no, I mean, this was a fun, fast read for like, a 600 plus page novel. At least my copy is 600 plus pages. I don't know
yeah,
about yours.
mine was about 500, just under
Yeah,
500.
yeah, I got that shittier,
Well,
smaller copy.
the mass market
But yeah.
paperbacks, yeah. It's funny. He's one of the only authors to still get mass market paperbacks.
Yeah, I guess people buy them.
Well, they
You
only
know.
buy his. Really, they buy like 4 authors. But the reason I asked that, I started thinking about this. Like, this was after I had read the book, and then after I watched the movie, I started thinking. I was like, "Damn, is he the most influential writer to ever live?" Like, and I mean that in a way like I've heard almost every contemporary writer I've ever met, I've ever listened to an interview with, I've ever just had a fucking conversation with, like in hallways or whatever, conferences. At some point in their life, Stephen King was a very important figure to them. You know what I mean? Like at some point, whether they were teenagers, whether they discovered it later in life, like you read a Stephen King novel and you fucking loved it. Like, and it fucking blew your hair back, you know? And you were like, whoa, this is fucking wild. Like, and I just think that I don't, he's still alive, so it's so hard to determine, you know? But I mean, obviously, yes, I think it's safe to say he changed the horror genre forever if we're doing genre fiction. But like, I think it's more than that because everybody kind of likes horror.
Yeah, I think
But
I'm just so like I'm so much closer to like MFA world that kind of tends to reject um
that's the thing
certain
too.
kinds of certain kinds of popular writing, although mine didn't really for the most part. Um,
I mean,
but I
it
wasn't on the
depended.
fiction side.
Yeah, it depended. Some people did, but even those that like were like, "Oh, screw popular fiction," they had read Stephen King when they were like, and like loved it when they were kids. Okay,
Yeah, I
like
feel like everyone in my program was imitating like, some really niche contemporary writer or they were trying to be the next Raymond Carver,
yeah, and I mean that's common.
you know?
That's everybody
So
tries. Yeah,
that's why I say like, oh, I think like when it comes to like MFA writers, I'm
right,
not sure, but that's the only side of the house I really know.
right. Well, I just mean dude, every. I think even I just mean even people that do reject it now and only want to do or only want to read or only want to create literary kind of stuff, they were still influenced by him. Like, you can't. It's one
Oh
of those
yeah,
things
this
where
is
he's
so much
so.
fun.
Yeah, well, not even that. Like, he's just so huge, and not just his books. Even if you didn't read his books, that's the other thing, dude. I think
Oh
what I
yeah,
want to
you
get
know
to
his
later.
movies.
That's what I mean. Like, he's just had such an impact on like the story creation in our culture that there's just nothing else comes close to what he
Yeah,
did.
he's a
Like,
prolific storyteller.
right. But I mean, sure, there's plenty of those, but it's like Dean Koontz has is prolific as fuck. I've never even read it, but I mean, this guy, I think he's another one of the most sold authors to ever live. But he's like, you don't see his stuff. I mean, it sells very well. I mean, obviously, all these, these are top one percenters, no doubt. Like top 1% of 1% in the literary world or the writing world. But like, he doesn't have the same impact on our culture that King did. Like, King just had this huge impact. Still does, because I mean, now every time he makes something, they're just putting it out like as a story, a movie, whatever
Oh
series.
yeah. I mean, think about how many editions
I
he
mean, yeah,
goes through
in
per book.
his little bio in the book that I'm sure everybody already knows, I think it says he sold over 350 million copies worldwide, not just of this book, but all his books. I think he's published over 60. He's old now. I think he's almost in his 70s. But that, I mean, not only that a feat itself, but I mean, I just feel like even if people don't want to admit it, like Stephen King has affected your life. Like, he has influenced you as a creative. He has influenced you somehow because he's just basically been a sledgehammer to the culture since the 70s, whenever that Carrie came out.